Welcome back to CryptoZonz Peer-to-Peer Financial Empowerment. 15 things to know about today's economy. Today we're going to do zone coverage in Zone 2, which is Wall Street and traditional finance. I find myself today out in my office. Today I'm down at a Memorial Drive. Every single one of these trees represents a fallen hero. Take a real close look at this one right here. I hope you can see that. James Gordon Jarrett. Private First Class Company C, 26 engineers. Thank you for your service. But it's a place that I landed today as far as just being out in my office in fresh air. 15 things to know about today's economy. Actually, it's going to be well over that. And what we're going to do, this video will be more or less a plethora of Google search terms. Now, everybody, or many of you, have much more time on your hands than you're used to, and when you find an hour or even 20 minutes to try to figure out more specifically what are the best things that you should be doing with your money. I saw one research that I'm going to mention here. The savings rate for US citizens is at a record high. So that's one thing to know about what's going on in today's economy. But the 15 tips, actually there'll be more than that. These are like Google search terms for you to look at to figure out how you can decide for yourself what are some really good moves for you to be doing. I mean, this world that we live in right now, they are printing money like madmen, and there's a reason for it. They're printing money in the US and globally like they never ever have in the history of the developed world, and it's no small thing. And if you have your head in the sand, you're going to be well taken advantage of. The reason that they are doing these things, I've gone down a rabbit hole because beginning with a video that I entitled Bitcoin Rocket Fuel about a month ago, I started going down a rabbit hole trying to wrap my head around really what is going on and why are they doing, what are the things that are taking place, how do I make sense of it, and what should I do for myself and my family. I just keep going down a rabbit hole deeper and deeper and deeper. It's very complex, and if you're looking for some really good information for you to search for yourself, you've come to the right place today. And so I'll just get started on that. And what I'm going to first is just to mention 5 things that are monumental, as if one wouldn't be enough, that are things that we should really be wary of in today's economy. Let's see, what was the name of that? BEA, the Bureau of Economic Analysis. They said that the savings rates amongst Americans are at an all-time high. It's 33% of disposable income is being saved right now. So we are trying to figure out what we should do with our money. And it comes at a time when the velocity of money or the spending of it is at a practical all-time low. And so there's a lot of money compared to usual that is being saved up. Americans are hoarding money. So it's at a 33% rate of disposable income is being kept. Let's see, there is 45 million unemployment claims that have been made. I guess that's since February. And the first week that it really started spiking up, I think it was 3.3 million new claims were made. And the largest or the highest number of claims that were made previous to that in 1 week, I think was something like 600,000. So it's just off the charts. It's incredible. And so these are this is some unseen territory. And if you don't figure out what you should do for yourself, you're going to be taken advantage of, because the people who are in the know about what is going on stand to survive the best. Another term we should be knowing about is CBDC, central bank digital currencies. It's a trend that's taking place. Trends are your friend. So figure out what the trend is. This is a very unknown. I mean, we just have to wait until these things start coming out, these central bank digital currencies. It looks like the first one will be out of China. And it really represents an independent or unique or closed garden, if you will, economy that can really be a threat to other economies that are related to it. And there are a lot of central banks that have been developing the technology to implement that. In a nutshell, what it is like the digitization of the national currency. It's the same currency, but what will happen is it's more than just what is already on the internet. It is an actual cancellation of fiat money or paper, if you will, on the street, and they will be making it all 100% internet or digitized. very important to be aware of. Central banks are buying up gold. They have been buying up gold at record rates for almost 2 years. We have to understand why. And if they're doing it, it really, really will not be a bad idea for us to be doing the same thing. Gold for millennia has been a great storage of value. I heard it said many times that an ounce of gold bought you a really good suit 300 years ago, and still today an ounce of gold will buy you a really, really good suit. I mean, an $1,800 suit today, so it's been a great store of value. Other term that is really, really important for us to know is the overnight repo market, also known as the repo market. And very, very few people really know what's going on there. Some reports have come out, there's been $3.7 trillion of that printed out. What it is essentially is money printing to bail out the banks. And they do this on an overnight basis, 5 nights a week. The money is supposed, or in most cases, it's paid off the very next day. But really what it really is propping up insolvent banks. So it's not out of a reasonable person's thought to think that many banks may soon, depending on how things ebb and flow, many banks may go bankrupt. So caution, caution, caution. So I'm going to name off 12 people or more that I suggest for you to Google and to watch some of their stuff or figure out what they talk about. And half of these are really truly traditional finance and Wall Street type icons, if you will, or economic thought leaders. And the other half are related a lot to Bitcoin, crypto, and blockchain. But of the 6 that are Bitcoin and crypto, they also have a lot of experience in the traditional financial world as well. Brent Johnson, he has something that is called the dollar milkshake theory. It would behoove you to listen to him. He's got some really good postulations. Simon Dixon is a young man who was invited as a speaker to the first Bitcoin conference, and as I understand, he published a book that is the first book that mentioned Bitcoin, first published book that mentioned Bitcoin. He has a company called Bank to the Future. He initially started back in 08 or 09 or 2010, even before Bitcoin was birthed. I think he was even trying to get a bank that was outside of the traditional banking system as early as 06 and 07. He found that would be impossible, but he has a really good he has some really good content off of his YouTube channel. Jim Rickards is one of the most highly connected individuals on this list, and when I think of that, I think, well, what is the scoop here? I mean, he's always shilling something, but when you listen to him speak, he makes so much sense. He has a great fundamental and deep, experienced grasp of economic theory, and as well, he has great experience in Wall Street and nation-state politics too. Jim Rogers is an iconic hedge fund manager or private equity fund manager, family office fund manager. He did very, very well. He's out of Singapore now. Max Kaiser is one of the earliest proponents of Bitcoin and crypto. I think he got involved with really promoting it when Bitcoin was about $1. He's been in, I think, since about 2011. There's something that's called the casascius coin, something like that he actually had some of those. Let's see I don't want to miss anybody here. Next would be Ivan on Tech, probably the youngest guy on this list, but he puts out daily videos. He's very young, but he is a very, very sharp mind. He's an entrepreneur, and he has a very highly regarded school of thought, or school where you can take classes. He's developing that, and I listen to him a lot, and he has his YouTubes are about an hour long, and it's amazing that he can keep my interest for that long, so many times. He's very, very current. You can walk away with knowing what's going on today with Ivan. Robert Kiyosaki, many of us have heard. He might be the most popular person on here, but he's of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad fame. The book, I read that maybe 25 years ago, and I probably read it 3 times since then. But today he does speak a lot about debt and how to monetize debt and how to work, how it's such a positive way of working in today's economy, because I agree with him that when money is created in the US, it's created as debt. And it's maybe a hard concept at first for some of us who've never heard that to wrap our minds around, but actually debt can be monetized and it's actually sold all over the world. And there's about $23 trillion worth of debt outside of the US owed to the US, just to back that up. Someone very, very new, I guess he's about in his mid-40s, but his name is George Gammon, Gammon. And he has a YouTube channel where he teaches a lot with pictorials. And I've just turned on to him very, very recently. He's got over 100,000 subscribers already, but I can see why, because he's very, very, very good. He's adept at what he knows. Anthony Pompliano, I like watching because he has some really good experience, and he operates what's called, I think it's called Morgan Creek Capital. And he has a large, or I think he might even have a majority, he's said. But I think what he said is he has the majority of his investments in Bitcoin itself, so obviously he's a proponent of that. There's a geopolitical scientist, his name is Peter Zeihan, Ziehan. I couldn't find a YouTube channel for him, but he is one of the most intelligent and articulate people I've heard on the internet. One thing that I learned from him recently is that 85% of all commerce, or all products, flow on the ocean blue. So navies are extremely important. The US has 10 super carriers, and one super carrier has, each of these super carriers has very, very good long-range firepower. And there's no other country on earth that has a super carrier. I think they say China might have 2 of them, but one of them used to be a casino, so it can't really be that good. But one of those super carriers that the US has, if you put all of the long-range firepower of all of the navies of the rest of the world combined, it amounts to about 4% of the long-range firepower of just one of those super carriers that the Navy has. So with naval or oceanic trade routes and having the most powerful Navy by far in the world, well, yeah, that's a pretty good position to be in to protect your nation-state currency. Tim Draper has been a well-known proponent of Bitcoin. He has invested many startups from early on, and he's got some really good thought. I heard from him, I think that there's only about 18%, it's probably less than that, of all of the investors in Bitcoin are women for some reason. And that was just a very, very interesting factoid. Also, Paul Tudor Jones has gained a lot of notoriety recently in the Bitcoin community. He gained a lot of fame through the 80s. I think he has a hedge fund valued at 40 billion AUM, assets under management, and he came out and says that he's putting 1% of his assets into Bitcoin, and between 1 and 2%, and this is epic because of his stature on Wall Street, and it signals a trend. Remember I said trends are your friend? Well, as early as 2018, the owner of the New York Stock Exchange and the owner of the ICE, Intercontinental Exchange, he launched a Bitcoin futures trading platform exchange known as BACK, BAKKT, but that was 2 years ago. Look, this is big time. It's not the economy and the volatility and the markets and the exchanges having to do with Bitcoin and cryptos. There's a lot of very, very rich people who are involved in it, and they're coming out of the woodwork. So that's it. That's all. It's that simple. I hope that as you go after some of these suggestions, that it will help you to figure out what to do with your money. I appreciate that every single one of us is unique and individual, and we all have different risk tolerances and different needs, and everybody will make a different decision as far as how they will be handling your money. But one thing that I've said very often, this is not the time to be buying new shoes, if you know what I mean. So, but it is a very, very important time for us to really figure out a defined plan for what we should be doing with it. And by doing so right now, we will reap some great rewards. Hashtag love all, serve others. I wish you well, I wish you wealth, I wish you health. And until next time, peace.